All right, let's just jump right in. Imagine this. The stock market is crashing, and instead of panicking, you're actually excited? Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's the whole idea behind being unshakable. Today, we're diving into Tony Robbins' playbook to show you how to get that kind of financial peace of mind.
And no, this isn't some fantasy. The whole point here is to make you unshakable. We're talking about trading in that pit in your stomach fear for some real, rock-solid confidence, especially when, every news channel is screaming about the next big crash.
So that brings up the big question, right? Are you financially unshakable? But before you can answer that, we've got to get on the same page about what that word even means.
Okay, so being unshakable, it doesn't mean you're some kind of financial superhero who's totally immune to market ups and downs. No, it's really about having the right mindset and the right knowledge so you can look at those crazy swings and see an opportunity, not a disaster. But, before we can grab those opportunities, we first have to see what we're really up against. All right, let's pull back the curtain for a second because the financial system, well, it has these hidden traps and they're designed to work against you a lot of the time without you even knowing it. And Tony Robbins, he does not pull any punches here, and for a really good reason. This quote, this is probably one of the most powerful analogies in the whole book. It just perfectly nails the quiet, destructive power of hidden fees that are just lurking in so many investment accounts. I mean, think about it. You see a fee that's like 2%, and your brain just kind of shrugs and goes, that's nothing. But here's the thing we forget. Compounding, that magical force that's supposed to grow your money? It's a double-edged sword. When it comes to fees, it works against you, just silently eating away at your future, year after year after year. So what does that tiny 2% fee actually add up to? Well, this. Over a lifetime of saving, it can chew up more than $150,000 from a typical person's retirement fund. I mean, that's insane. That is life-changing money that should have been yours. Let me put it another way. John Bogle, the guy who founded Vanguard, he laid it out perfectly. He basically said, look, you put up all the money, you took all the risk, and in the end, you might only get a third of the profit. It shows you how Wall Street can end up with the other 2/3 of your hard-earned money. I mean, it's a game that can absolutely feel rigged against you. Okay, so this is super important. You absolutely have to know who you're taking advice from. You've got brokers who operate under what's called a suitability standard. That means they can sell you something that's suitable, but maybe not the best or cheapest option because it gets them a bigger commission. Then you have a fiduciary. This is the key. A fiduciary is legally bound to act in your best interest. Understanding this difference, that is your first line of defense. Okay, so we've seen the traps. Now let's talk about the big one, the big fear, market crashes. But what if we could just reframe that whole idea? What if they're not the big scary monster under the bed we all think they are? Tony Robbins calls these the freedom facts for a reason. They are designed to set you free from that fear. I mean, just look at this stuff. Corrections, that's a drop of 10% or more, they happen on average about once a year, and they usually last less than 2 months. The point is, they are a normal, predictable part of the market cycle. It's like financial winter, and we all know what comes after winter. And this right here is the absolute core mindset shift. A truly unshakable investor, they don't see a market crash. They see a sale. It's like your favorite store putting everything on a 50% off clearance. It's a chance to buy incredible assets at a huge discount. Fear makes us do really dumb things, doesn't it? Our first instinct is to pull all our money out and stuff it under the mattress. But trying to time the market, it's a fool's errand. And the data proves that the greatest danger isn't being in the market when it falls, it's being out of it when it recovers. Okay, just look at this chart. This is so powerful. That tall bar on the left, that's your return if you just did nothing, if you just stayed invested through the ups and downs. Now that shorter bar, that's what happens if you panicked and missed just the 10 best days in the market. 10 days. Your long-term returns get sliced by more than half. It's incredible. Patience isn't just a virtue in investing, it's pretty much the whole strategy. So, okay, we've uncovered the hidden traps, and we've hopefully taken the fangs out of our biggest fears. So now what? How do we actually turn all this knowledge into a real plan? Let's get into the playbook itself and build our strategy. So Tony Robbins went and talked to like 50 of the smartest investors on the planet and boiled all their wisdom down into 4 core principles. The first 2 are the foundation. Number 1, don't lose money. It sounds simple, but the math here is just brutal. If you lose 50% of your money, you need to make a 100% return just to get back to where you started. And number 2 is all about finding what he calls asymmetric risk/reward. It's a fancy way of saying look for bets where the potential reward is way, way bigger than the potential loss.
But here's the twist. You can have the perfect strategy, the perfect investments, everything lined up just right, and you can still mess it all up. How? Well, it turns out our biggest enemy isn't the market. It's the person staring back at us in the mirror. Our own brains are often wired to make us do exactly the wrong thing at the wrong time.
And this is basically a list of the ways our brains betray us. You've got recency bias. That's when we think whatever just happened is going to keep happening forever. It's why people pile into a hot stock right at the top. Or loss aversion. Psychologists have proven that the pain of losing $100 feels twice as bad as the joy of gaining $100. That's what makes us panic and sell low. But here's the good news. Just knowing that these traps exist, that's honestly half the battle.
Okay, and finally, let's zoom out. Because this might be the most important part of the whole thing. We have to remember why we're even doing this. This isn't just about stacking up a big pile of money. It's about what that money can do for you, how it can help you build a truly extraordinary life. I mean, we all know the stories, right? People who get crazy rich but are still completely miserable. They figured out how to win the game of making money, but they totally failed at the game of being happy. They mastered the science of achievement, but they never understood the art of fulfillment. And that is the ultimate goal. You need to master 2 skills. First is the science of achievement. That's taking your dreams and making them real. And we've been talking about the playbook for that. But the second, and just as important, is the art of fulfillment. And that's all about finding joy and meaning along the way. So where does that fulfillment come from? According to Robbins, it really comes down to just 2 things: growth and contribution. You have to always be growing, and you have to be giving back to something bigger than yourself. Because at the end of the day, the secret to living is giving, and that is what it truly means to be wealthy. So there you have it. That's the playbook for becoming unshakable. The strategies are here, the path is laid out. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it? Because in the end, your decisions are what create your destiny.